You may have a little icon that comes up and you'll just have to say continue because this is recording. Welcome to this Rooted to the Sky gathering. This is day 7 of the 7 days of rest and sacred renewal 2022 online retreat. These days are set aside in a global forum to help us focus on renewal for the new year. Each day of the retreat has a theme. This year, from January 1st to 7th, the themes are rebirthing, nourishing, cultivating, communing, sharing, valuing, and celebrating. I chose to do my gathering with you today on day 7 under the celebrating banner. We're celebrating trees and being alive. Thanks to Jan and Shelley for creating this sacred space and all the co-creators in this amazing field for your enriching contributions. 7 days of rest and sacred renewal, January 1st to 7th, 2022, is the 5th annual open co-creative event, inviting individuals and groups around the world to initiate and join local and online events for the healing and thriving of Earth and all her inhabitants. There are many wonderful sessions over these 7 days that include music, meditations of many kinds, eco projects, grandmother and elder talks, animal stories, storytelling, nutrition, writing prompts, so many things. This 5th year of the retreat and all the offerings from each year are posted on the website for your exploration anytime. So you can go to the website anytime, not just during the 7 days of the retreat. And in various emails that I've sent you, I've included that link for the 7 days retreat. So let's get started. I want this to be a cozy and restorative time for everyone. Make sure you're in a quiet, comfortable place. I want you to feel safe, open, and ready to listen. I invite you to respond, but only if that's comfortable for you. This is our time to reflect and to reflect on and to be among the trees. And that's why I've created this background. So if you're having a little trouble imagining being in the forest, which most of us retreat to during COVID, this tree goddess is reclining and resting and is among the trees. And that's how I want you to feel today, that we're resting, we're reclining, we're taking time out of the world, leaving all our cares and troubles at the door. COVID, just for this 90 to 120 minutes, doesn't exist. We're just here together among the trees. We have windows in our homes and art on our walls to allow us to keep nature in our homes. We need that inspiration every day to know that we are part of the living web in our ecosystem. There is much beauty and wisdom in trees. Let's open ourselves willingly and quietly to that knowledge. I currently have a display of my artwork at the Corridor Gallery in the Almonte Public Library. The show runs until January 15th. Thanks to Carol Farmer for urging me to do that. I prepared a binder of materials for that show, and I've modified that to use for today's gathering. You have a copy of the complete binder in the PDF, The Miracles of Technology. I can send you a whole binder in a PDF that I attach to your Zoom invite email. So please just use that as you can for, meditating if it helps you in any way. There are many links there to different websites and different poets and authors who are just top-notch. We'll be looking at some of that today, and I'll feature some of the writing in it to go with the art pieces. I've been taking art classes and painting for over 20 years. I belong to several circles of artists in Almonte at the Center for Creative Living, where creative contemplation practice is the focus. Art is meditation. Walking among trees or even sitting under one tree quietly and listening is meditating. Life can be a meditation. Well, for those of us who are lucky enough to be retired anyway. Over the last couple of days, I wrote, actually it was to Susan Schmaltz in an email. The sacred is always networking with us in many and varied, mysterious ways. I'm feeling such a pull right now from the trees, individual ones and groves that assert themselves into my art. When we open ourselves to the divine channels that run within us, many messages show up and invite our response. We just have to decide if we're prepared to answer that call. Susan knows all about that. When you get a dream and you have to fulfill it, you just answer that call. It's liminal space, that space between the worlds, between the sacred and divine and our mortal world that beckons to me. In creative contemplation, spirit whispers. I'm leaning into that and seeking answers from our wise guardians in the forests. There's so much to learn now that our lives aren't so busy. Love retirement. COVID has sent us to our rooms again. Yet again, we're grounded. But maybe that's the message we truly need to take to heart. Getting grounded. Being grounded. It's not like being a teenager when you couldn't have the car from your parents. This is a true grounding in the spiritual sense. I believe that's a message that we can take from it. I'm hoping to offer some grounding in our gathering that takes its inspiration from the grandmother trees and mother trees around us. So I'd like you to prepare yourself to go on a little wander down a path. Just willingly suspend your disbelief and go with the images as I guide you with words. This is a guided meditation. Many of you will be very familiar with that practice. It's I don't know, it's kind of a prayer, kind of a way of clearing our minds and of relaxing. So really all you have to do is listen and let your mind follow the images that the story creates. So let's go. Close your eyes if that's comfortable to you. If it's not comfortable to close your eyes, for some people that's not a comfortable place to be. Softly gaze at something that makes you feel peaceful. Maybe the background image I have on your screen of the reclining tree goddess on the forest floor in a glen. Place your feet comfortably and solidly on the floor. Place one hand on your belly and one hand on your heart. Take 3 deep, slow breaths. Feel yourself sinking deeply into the support of the floor. The floor is supported by the foundation of the building you're in. That is, in turn, grounded in the earth. Feel the solid support of Mother Earth beneath you. You can imagine roots growing from your body. All our systems in our body, our circulatory and nervous and limbic systems are all like roots and tendrils. Imagine those growing down through your feet, down through the house, and into the ground. Feel that happen. Imagine so many roots connecting you to the rich, dark soil, the soul of the earth. Breathe deeply and feel your belly rise and fall, allowing your body to become even more relaxed. Now imagine that you're standing on a path at the edge of a small forest. The bright sun warms your back as you face the opening in the trees. The light, warm breeze from the forest is inviting you to enter. The air is refreshing. The path is clear and broad. It's easy to follow. And so you step into the forest. Continue with long, slow breathing in and out. All around you, you can hear birds calling to one another. Their sounds are gentle and sweet. They seem to be encouraging you to take a few more steps into their home. And so you do. The peace in the forest is total. You are aware of small animals around you. You see chipmunks and squirrels romping and playing. You can hear the sounds of more birds hidden in the trees around and above you in this grove. These forest sounds are soothing, and your body relaxes more deeply. Continue to be aware of your long, deep breaths in and out. Smell the beautiful, fresh air that's full of resins, leaf composting, and freshness of oxygen that the beautiful forest provides for us. The evergreens and the deciduous trees each have their smells that fill our lungs and make us healthy. Forest bathing and deeply breathing in forests is a healthy practice. As you continue to walk forward, there before you is a beautiful, massive, strong tree. It has a visible system of larger roots coming out of the earth, anchoring it in place. You decide to sit down on the soft, mossy ground between two large roots. And the roots create a special natural chair for you to sit. Settle in. Feel your back resting on the warmth and support of the tree trunk. Breathe in, feeling grateful to receive this mother tree's strength, flexibility, ancient wisdom, and protection. Feel these qualities fill your body and heart, your entire being, as you nestle further into this beautiful tree's embrace. You become aware that near the tree where you are sitting, there is a small creek bubbling along. Sunbeams glint off its surface. The sound of the creek and the gentle breeze in the grove as it whispers through the leaves above you in the tree relax you further. Breathe deeply in this peaceful, refreshing place. Your entire body feels calm and relaxed, sitting between these strong tree roots. Your mind focuses and appreciates the strength of the tree, its power and stability. You think about how it is deeply rooted into the ground and how it is connected to the earth. Your thoughts drift to how the tree gives its shade, its oxygen to the air we breathe, how it provides a home to birds and other animals, how it gives you a sense of being strong, stable, and protected. You take several long, deep breaths, soaking up the wonder and support of this mother tree. When you are ready, and there is no rush, imagine that you are standing up. Give thanks to this amazing tree for its nourishment of your life. Slowly begin walking back along the path towards the sunshine. Feel the sun warming your body. Turn around to bid your tree farewell. You know that you can return to the welcoming stability of this tree and the refreshing waters near it whenever you need comfort. Take a deep inhale and exhale, and return to the room you're in when you're ready. So just take a moment to come back from the grove, and I'm going to screen share so we can use some of the photos and art images to focus our reflections as we go along. And at this point, while I'm putting the screen share on, I'd like you to take a moment to consider a special connection that you have to a particular tree or a forest. It could be on the property where you live or a place where you love to go and walk. Often by visualizing, we can bring that sense of peace and centeredness and balance inside ourselves when we're feeling off kilter, by just imagining those places. So if you can call that up in your memory, or if you have a special connection to a particular tree or forest. So as we look at the art and hear the related writing, see what this place that is in your memory and near and dear to you, what does it stir in you? If any of you would like to share reflections on a tree, or a particular forest or grove, or a way in which trees have inspired or influenced your life, I'll provide time for that at the end of the gathering, but just maybe keep that in mind as we go forward through the gathering presentations here. Just bear with me for a moment. So everybody should see. I am going to see if I can. I'm just going to see if, are people all still muted? Yeah, people are nodding their heads. Okay. If you wish to unmute yourself, you can. It's just a little more difficult when I'm screen sharing to manipulate things. So I'll just, invite you to do that as you wish. If there is background noise where you are, you can mute yourself. If not, I just want you to feel that you can participate if you would like to. So I'll just go back to the screen share. Okay, so this is one of the local little forests where I walk. I think this particular one is near the Mill of Kintail. And I think all of us know many places where we enjoy going around where we live that give us that feeling of refuge and peace. I'm just going to scroll through, sorry, just a little bit of writing there that will roll by. This is a particular tree. I call her the listening tree. And I've written a story about her. It's in the binder that I gave you. But I think it's so remarkable that nature has constructed this beautiful ear of this tree so that she truly listens to us. She's just down by the Mississippi. You can see the town hall in the background there. And just before I start into a discussion and sharing of some of the writing to go with my art pieces, I want to take a moment to honor a remarkable woman who lives in Merrickville, but is respected and revered all over the world. We're so fortunate to have Diana Bearsford Krueger among us. Her mission is to speak for the trees. She's a learned druid, a world-renowned biochemist, botanist, and author who is on a mission to share the ancient wisdom of the trees and bring about a renewed connection to the global forest. I've dedicated this gathering to her, and she inspires me as I paint the root beings she is on a crusade to save, so that they in turn can save us and our species on this small planet. Quite simply, our lives depend on the healthy lives of trees. A lovely article about Diana and her work that appeared in the Hum in 2014 just gave us a glimpse of how Diana thinks and feels about trees. Susie Osler wrote this quote in her 2014 article. Every once in a while, so this is Diana speaking, every once in a while, I pay a visit to a big twisted white oak on the top of a hill near my house. So I'll just show you a picture of a big oak, a majestic mother of the Mississippi here. That might be something like the one that Diana has in mind. The tree is one of the largest on the land I have come to occupy. It is a scraggly mess of thick branches that sweep out horizontally from a vast, crusty trunk. How it survived the onslaught of settlers and the accompanying twin abuses of timber extraction and animal pasturing over the last century remains a mystery, but I'm grateful it did. This tree has a palpable presence, solidity and wisdom that come with age and survival. I've adopted this oak as my tree elder, as I have this one that's just down from us at the shore of the Mississippi. Or perhaps it is the other way around, and the tree has taken me under its limb. I visit my oak when I need to regroup and ground myself. On occasion, I will simply go and sit in the comfortable bend of one of its lower limbs and take in the view of its surrounding kingdom. And it does feel like it presides over the small valley and beaver pond below and the slopes beyond. To some, this may sound a bit woo, but as anyone who has spent time with big trees will know, they have an incredible and inarguable energetic presence. I've included links in the information that I've given you to Diana Bearsford Krueger's writings and her website. She's a formidable woman. So thanks, Diana, for being among us and being so accessible, and for the hard work that you're doing for trees and with trees. So I'm going to now get into my artwork. The Glowing Goddess is the signature piece for the show at the library, which I called Rooted to the Sky. So that actual piece, which I will go to, that's the opening to the Rooted to the Sky art show. And I think you can see that quite well. So of anything I've painted, she is the most appreciated, and I think that's because I totally allowed the colors and shapes to happen on the page. I was in such a peaceful, meditative state in my art teacher's basement, Eileen Stevenson, who's an incredible watercolor teacher, with beautiful music playing and my art friends quietly creating their own pieces around the table. This goddess appeared, and I'm so blessed that she did. Because of her creative wisdom, I've decided to do a series of Earth Mother, grandmother trees, and I'm excited to see who shows up. I spent a long time gazing at this tree, and I kind of went into a sort of reverie. So when I started some writing, I'm in the process of writing a book that combines art and sort of meditations, reflections, maybe poetry, other writing that's inspired by trees. But this particular tree kind of exemplifies that woo-woo state that Diana talks about, where you can, with real trees in the forest, or when you're creating any sort of a reproduction of the natural world through art, you do enter into that contemplative, meditative state that allows you to really appreciate the spirit and the essence of the tree. So this writing, again, as any of you who are involved in creation know, when you're in that flow of moment, messages come through you, writing comes through you, and creating of your art, whether it's pottery or sculpture or visual art of any kind, or music, or any of the creative arts, you're kind of letting that spirit flow through you rather than you using your rational brain to control it. So this is what came from reflecting on the glowing goddess. She was speaking through me. Gather around the firmament of my being. The galaxies swirl below and above me. The cosmos sings my name. I am she of the ether, from the first mother. I am the tree that bridges the sky and the heavens to the earth. The fires of the sun play in my branches, and I oversee the chaos of creation beneath my roots. The earth's mantle reigns below me. Her fires burn deep and feed my spirit with deep knowing. You heard my song of joy when you were born. Millions of birds sang the chorus of your naming. Every being is precious on the earth, the closest home I know. Stop for a while and settle your weariness against me. I've supported many who are lost. You will find your way. As sure as the sun and moon change places above me, and the ground around me morphs with the four seasons, and my branches point to the four directions, you will discover what you seek. Rest against the solid wood that's ringed in light and darkness, pain and anxiety, abundance and want. I endure. I've been broken, but I survive. If your burden is heavy, lay it down beside me for a while, and I will draw deep into the healing wells of the earth to bring you strength. Abide with me. Trust in my deep wisdom. Focus on my solid arms reaching to the heavens. Squint your eyes to see the beings that are tangled in my branches. Sylphs that settle briefly. Wandering, weary souls have gathered there. They fly by day and settle in to roost at night. They leave their colored auras behind. Peer at my body with soft eyes and see the dryad dwelling in her green growth. It's like she has a green gown. She melds with my spirit, and we protect each other as we will protect you. Her eyes see into your depths, and she whispers your secrets to me so I can heal you. Your tears are precious and safe with us, with all trees. Let them fall on the ground below me as a votive pact. Salt water of the oceans, formed of the rains from the heavens, ultimately receive your sorrowful plea. We offer the healing powers of oceans, seas, rivers, earth, and trees back to you. This is the cycle, child of the goddess and the stars. Believe this with all. Look below me and find the ones that are forming, the ones that dance and sing. So this painting is called Ethereal Forest. And again, there's just so much light among the trees. And that's the kind of the magic of watercolor or other art is to capture the light in the natural world. So I just want to share a poem by Mary Oliver called When I Am Among the Trees. Most of you have heard this poem or read it. It's just exceptional and kind of embodies a lot of what my involvement in the creative process is with trees. When I'm among the trees, especially the willows and the honey locust, equally the beech, the oaks, and the pines, they give off such hints of gladness. I would almost say that they save me, and daily. I am so distant from the hope of myself, in which I have goodness and discernment, and never hurry through the world, but walk slowly and bow often. Around me, the trees stir in their leaves and call out, "Stay a while." The light flows from their branches and they call again. It's simple, they say, and you too have come into the world to do this, to go easy, to be filled with light, and to shine. And another quote about light through the trees. In the morning light, I remembered how much I loved the sound of wind through the trees. I laid back and closed my eyes, and I was comforted by the sound of a million tiny leaves dancing on a summer morning. It's Patrick Carman. Almost all of these quotes are in the binder that I provided for you in the PDF, so you have them all. The next piece, Radiant Mother, is one that I did just a week or so ago. And again, trying to capture the light in the trees. This is the season that we're in now, winter Cavan. In winter twilight, the birches in the quiet, deep forest. I wrote a poem called Forest Wisdom that is taken from being in the forest in all seasons, really, but particularly the quiet forest of winter is conducive to thinking about the wisdom of the trees. So Forest Wisdom says, old ones standing in the shadows, what stories could you tell of rings and roots and fallen leaves if I sit with you a while? Ancient ones along the path, what secret whispered spells would I glean from fey folk hiding? If I listen, will they tell? Many branches to your visions, reaching out for starry skies. Silent sentries of the forest, do you hear us when we cry? Your ancient arms reach up to touch the Milky Way. Your roots know fathoms in the earth, much more profound than sky. Sacred seers in darkest night, if I sit with you and listen, would you fill me with your knowing as still waters mutely glisten? Quiet listeners gather tales. Your arms reach out toward me. Gnarled skin roughened by the years. Do you tire from the holding? May I stop and sit a while? In the shelter of your shadow, in the deep bright green of day, what secrets hide beneath your roots? What stories slip away? Burrowed roots wrap dark earth's rocks, encircling bones from ancient tales. What sacred layered stories lie along these time-worn trails? Your gnarled and broken limbs stretch black on cloudless sky, seeking distant light. What future can you scry? Deep in fertile earth you heal, and hear our deepest woes. You know we need your wisdom. We know you fear our foes. And a quote from Mary Oliver. The dream of my life is to lie down by a slow river and stare at the light in the trees, to learn something by being nothing. something about being by trees near water where the elements meet, where earth and air and water are together. It's very powerful. Again, that liminal space that's very inspiring. Again, if anyone wants to make any comments, please feel free to do that. I love representing the less than perfect trees, because after all, who's perfect? The broken ones, birch, are very fragile, yet strong in that they withstand all sorts of weather. They don't have such a long life, but they're so radiant, and in their brokenness, they have such incredible beauty. And this collection of Golden Glow, Sisterhood, and Fiery Dance, the last three, culminating with this Ghost Sister Ravine, is kind of a tribute to the old trees in our forests, some of which are changing over. The coniferous forests are changing over to deciduous and scrub. And this is a sort of a composition that's from imagination, but shows the old birches and some trees in and around that are younger, with life-giving waters flowing through. So there's a quote by Francisco X. Stork that I thought was quite lovely for this particular image. "You hardly see me in the sun, my sparkles in the stars. When all is dark around you, I'm the memory of light. I'm not the fruit of summer. I'm not the blooming rose. I live in roots of trees and in the seeds of love. When all is lost around you, when life's last dream is gone, I'll be in the breath you breathe, the next step you take." And Tolkien, Lord of the Rings author, has a great love of trees, I think, because he wrote post-war when a lot of trees had been destroyed, when Frodo and Bilbo Baggins are wandering through woods and mountains. He has a great reverence for trees. So this is a quote from Tolkien. "He led the way in under the huge branches of the trees. Old beyond guessing they seemed. Great trailing beards of lichen hung from them, blowing and swaying in the breeze. Out of the shadows, the hobbits peeped, gazing back down the slope. Little furtive figures that in the dim light looked like elf children in the deeps of time, peering out of the wild wood in wonder at their very first dawn." Trees in spring. I'd just like to share a little reading from Diana Bearsford Krueger. There's a beautiful book of poems that I've included for you in the binder. And this Heartwood is a collection by the League of Canadian Poets, and Diana Bearsford Krueger wrote an introduction to it. So I think it's really beautiful that she refers to poetry here in the intro to the book. "We must turn to the poems to expand their dreams. This is because trees are the parents to the child deep within us. Forests bear silent witness to the tides of time upon which we will be judged. Trees are a gift of the galaxies. their fabric a web of stardust. The web holds nothing, a void from nowhere. This is the playground of the poets, the great plain of creation. The entire music of the universe is held in the trees. It is amplified again and again and again within the forest. To listen to this music is to meditate. Taken alone, this is sufficient reason to make all forests sacred and us accountable. This is a fall scene inspired by a hill at our cottage, looking over farmland below. Sumacs that we have so many of in Ontario, and their reflections in water are so beautiful in the fall. So I'm just going to read one more reflection poem, and then I'll just open things up that we can discuss. I'll stop the screen sharing. I'll go through the last few images without reading anything. So this is the last little reflection that I will read before scrolling the images, and then we can have a discussion at the end. There is a beautiful spirit breathing now its mellow richness on the clustered trees, and from a beaker full of richest dyes, pouring new glory on the autumn woods, and dipping in warm light the pillared clouds, morn on the mountain like a summer bird lifts up her purple wing, and in the vales the gentle wind, a sweet and passionate wooer, kisses the blushing leaf and stirs up life within the solemn woods of ash deep crimsoned, and silver beech and maple yellow leaved, where autumn, like a faint old man, sits down by the wayside, a weary. And that's Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. So I'll just take you through the last several images of the art. That's an acrylic painting. It's not a watercolor. And that's a mixed media piece that I did actually when I was with Kathy Blake. So it's got actual birch bark and magazine pieces and pastel and a few other things. It's a true mixed media piece. And this is Collage at our Center for Creative Living in Almonte. We have a group off the wall artists, and making collages out of magazines is a fun activity that we've taken part in. Kathy Blake did a class, and Joe Page was part of that. You can see where the pieces of various magazines are assembled, and different colors of paper, and you put together a composition. It's all sorts of fun. And it's something that even if you don't have drawing talent or whatever, it's a way for people to jump in and experience the art.
Chris,
Yes.
it's Elaine.
Yes, hi, Elaine.
I just like to thank you. I'm just being very aware during these last 2 years plus that my soul has not been nourished by the earth, and some of it is my own choice. Watching too much news, watching too much junk TV, becoming quite concerned. I guess there's sort of a triumvirate, climate change, the environment, the alarming political scene to the south. So this is just provided such a restorative feeling, and the awareness that there is opportunity to make choices that feed the soul. And just after Christmas, I was thinking, I do go for daily walks, but at a certain stage in life, you get a little concerned about ice and falling and that type of thing. And I thought, I really feel this need to get out to do more woodland walks. And I sent out emails to a few friends, and I haven't had a great response. All I want to do is meet someone in the woods, like behind the sportsplex or anywhere, and just appreciate what's there. And recently I did go with a friend, and of course you're so aware of the trees, how many have fallen, the depths of their bark, a woodpecker pecking away. And so to me, I'm really drawn there, and I find it interesting that I only heard from you yesterday about this, and here I am sitting here this afternoon feeding my soul. And I mean, I could go on and on, but I know other people want to talk. So I want to thank you. And I will be connecting with you via email. I'm just amazed at, blown away by your art. I know how far I went with your class, and now I see how you branched out. And it's really, this has been lovely. And I do hope this will be a springboard for me. So thank you very much.
Ditto.
Thank you.
Well said. Sure.
It's so nice to see all of you. Oh my goodness, it just is so nice to see you.
Well, Chris, I will say that I was sort of thinking as you're going through this, that for you too, it must be like you're seeing all that you've worked on all these years, like this, all this compilation, like all the hard work that you've done. I mean, yes, you're saying it's creative and you put your soul into it, but it's also a lot of hard work, you know, putting it all together. And I kind of feel the same way about feeling nurtured from it. So thank you. I loved the grounding meditation, and you asked us to reflect, and I do think I have always chosen to live where there are trees. So it's kind of part of my life. I live kind of in a forest, and I walk through a forest to get to the river. And I enjoy, you know, the Ferguson forest near me in Kempville. And so, yeah, trees are very important to me. They're just not something I choose to draw. So I admire your drawing. I have to draw something with more, you know, more still life, you know, like I have to have a focal point, and you are good at taking the full image of the forest. So thanks for sharing it with us, and the poetry. Loved it.
So welcome. So welcome. So welcome. Carol and Kathy have to go. I'm sorry.
Oh, I don't have to go.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I just was responding to Carol's chat.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I just caught a little, just saw it briefly flashing. So sorry you have to go off, Carol, but thank you so much for coming. Carol's just sitting in her little mute. Yes. Okay.
Yes, I do have to go. I have
no worries. No worries. Well, don't feel compelled one way or the other. It's all good. You're more than welcome to stay. Yeah.
No, I have to go. I have another commitment at 3 o'clock on a Zoom.
Oh, well, there you go. Oh, wow. We're Zoomers, eh? When,
So it was
Mo-
lovely, Chris. Thank you so much.
oh, so welcome. So welcome.
Lots of love.
Yeah. When Moses Namer started that magazine Zoomer years ago for retirees,
Yes, he
didn't
didn't know.
know that we were all going to have to be Zoomers for
Mhm.
2 years and
Maybe
oh, I
more.
hope it's not 2 years and counting. Shh, 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 you know.
Have to-
Bye-bye, Carol. See you
Bye.
soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
I know. Hi, Carol.
Chris, I'm really mesmerized by your art. It's absolutely beautiful. And several years ago, I became quite close and developed quite a deep relationship with trees. We moved to La Paz, and we moved into a small A-frame cottage. And in front of it, it had this huge maple tree that absolutely engulfed the thing. And there was a front veranda out on the top. And I always felt that I was in a tree house because that's exactly the way it felt. It was just surrounded by these trees. And I really love that tree. I absolutely love that tree. And one day, one weekend, we were out with our family, had a lovely weekend and everything. And the next weekend, one of the biggest branches of the tree, which is very much like the tree that you painted, the largest branch fell on top of the picnic table. And had it been the week before, we all would have been killed because it just absolutely fell. And so they decided that this tree had to be cut down. And there was also a massive oak in the front of our house. These were my friends, my closest friends. And when they came to cut the tree down, I had to leave. I couldn't be around.
Yeah.
And when I came back into the yard, I cried and cried and cried. It was like there were bodies. It was like there were bodies lying on the ground. And it was really powerful. Really powerful. And funny, I came to sit at my computer and not choosing any particular place in the house, but as I sit here, there's the biggest maple tree in Pembroke right over my head. I'm looking out this window and there it is.
Nice.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Yes, your artwork, your poetry, everything is so beautiful. I can't thank my friend enough for putting me in contact with you and all of you ladies. While you're talking about trees, I've always loved trees, but I never realized how much till today. But if I forgive my memory is not good, but somewhere on Vancouver Island, there is a huge park, trees of very, very old trees.
Oh, the Cathedral Grove.
Yes, and there was a storm, a
been there.
windstorm that came in just before I visited there. And I walked through that park and I felt like it was a funeral. It felt like I wanted to cry, to watch, to look down, to see. And they never moved any of those trees that came down. They didn't cut them up. They didn't take them away. They left them all there in honor of the trees. They were beautiful. That was a long time ago. And now you make me remember this particular time. And I thank you for that, because like all of you, I too am finding this isolation a bit difficult, and to say the least. I keep saying, think positive and, good things will come. And sure enough, here we are. So thank you, Chris. Thank you all ladies for listening to me. And I hope that we can share some more. Thank you.
Thanks, Suzanne. Yeah, I remember in 1998 after the ice storm going to Kingston where there were huge, I think Maureen, you and I were in Kingston after the ice storm, maybe the two couples, and walking around, and I'd gone to university there. And I remember walking through the different parks and down by the lake and Skeleton Park, just the different areas and the devastation. And you know, very much like you were saying, Susan, you are brought to the ground. Your spirit just, you feel like weeping to see these trees who, I mean, they've grown for hundreds of years, and there they are split in the middle, and they're going to have, you know, they've just been cleaved in half or in pieces, or branches all over everywhere. And I think of that so often with climate change. We see these tornado, the footage on the news, and it's devastating. That whole area has been devastated, like Kentucky after the tornadoes. You just, like, all the trees are gone, and you can't, our lives, our habitats, where we live, our homes, you know, a small urban lot with a beautiful big whatever kind of tree, if that has to come down, what a loss that is for the people living in that house, much less collectively for a big neighborhood to lose all its trees, like with Dutch elm. And a lot of these things are climate change, either monoplanting that, you know, we as unthinking humans do, or you know, pests that come because of climate change and global warming, and the trees are gone. Yeah, so yeah, share in the glory of the trees and share in the sorrow of losing them, for sure. Yeah, Kathy.
Thank you, Chris, very much for doing this and putting this together. It's been a lovely time. And I want to bring to your attention, people, if you do not know of it, the new plan of the Ottawa Hospital is to cut down about 550 mature trees, not in the Arboretum, but the other side of Prince of Wales Drive, for a piece of land that's not as well known, but has these mature, beautiful trees. I've been somewhat involved, but not as much as I would like to have been, in the campaign to try and stop this. If anybody is interested, let me know. I can put you in touch with the group who are really trying to fight this. But there's not much time left. The cutting is supposed to start in March, and the trees are immense, beautiful things. So anyway, that's out there. Or maybe I can just send it to everybody, care of your chain of list of people there, Chris.
Sure, Kathy, that would be great. Does the group have a name?
To Save the Trees, I think it's called, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'll just tack it onto your list and send it out.
Thank you.
Even if, for instance, what came out this week was just a request to people to send letters, like pepper the people who are going to make these decisions, and it's got guidelines and addresses. So yeah, I'll send it out. But it's just I've turned on my other, I have two screens, and I just pulled up one of the things that, Chris, you put out there, The Art of Trees by an artist somewhere in the States, and the magnificent tree on the cover. And I haven't gone into it because you were busy talking, but it's an inspiring thing to be looking at while we're doing this. That's the kind of tree we're talking about, hundreds of years old. It should never be cut down. Anyway, I'll pass.
And that's right in, you know, in our local area. So again, think global, but act local. And if there's anything we can do, maybe I'll just send them my binder. It's like, come on, guys.
Well, it's sort of, I think it's Jim Watson and his bunch, you know, who may get voted out, but they're the ones who are developers. And the NCC said, put this new hospital on Tunney's pasture, flat land beside an LCC spot.
Absolutely, it's already a concrete jungle.
And repurposed. No, Jim Watson and his cronies want that land for condominiums. Thank you very much. And so it got plunked over here on a fault line. You know, they're going to build this new hospital on, if you haven't noticed it, if you drive from Carling Avenue and turn right on Prince of Wales and go back, you'll suddenly see there's a drop in the land there. It's not easy to see because there are trees in front of it, but nobody in their right mind builds a huge institution on a fault line, you know.
Yeah. Well,
Anyway,
how about the Canadian nuclear laboratories on the Ottawa River that want to put the mega dump, the NSDF, the near surface disposal facility with megatons of nuclear waste on the Ottawa River at
that's
Port
ridiculous.
less than a mile from the Ottawa River. And they've got all of the land that DND has in Petawawa, and the military base is adjacent to it. It's all this huge tract of land. They have to be able to find something further away from the Ottawa River because it's a fault line. And if there's ever a spill of any kind, an accident, or because of climate change, some rent in that they've got some liner that they think is bulletproof. The engineers just think everything's bulletproof. Well, talk to people in Kentucky or talk to people in Fukushima, how
Fukushima's what comes to mind.
bulletproof is anything, right? And we would have nuclear waste, huge amounts of it that would last hundreds of thousands of years in the drinking water for most of Ontario and Quebec. Yeah, not very, yeah. Yeah, so on a fault line, that could be the source of a lot of writing and painting for us, Kathy, on a fault line.
Yes, that's a good idea. Lots of different kinds of fault lines.
Yes, for sure.
Well, Chris, for my part, I've never had a relationship with a tree. I can honestly say that, but I don't know why I can't stop crying. I don't know. It's the beauty and your connection to creation. So that's all I have to say.
Oh,
But thank you, Kathy. I will do something concrete. I am a good advocate, so I
Good.
know
Excellent.
how to write letters.
Well,
And
you know,
today it will
if-
be trees.
if any of you get a chance seriously to go into the 7 days of rest and sacred renewal site, 5 years of this kind of discussion, or people who have reinstated white lions to their natural habitat, people, and as a life's work, grandmothers who are blessing water in Africa, people who are very involved. There's a grandmothers and trees organization. The website, the 7 days website is just full of people, you know, little groups like we have in Ottawa, trying to keep the trees instead of putting a building there on a fault line. And everywhere we go, you walk around neighborhoods and these condos and other buildings are mushrooming and they're clear cutting the lots. And then people wonder why there's erosion. You know, look at BC, look at all the erosion and mudslides and everything. I mean, that was absolute complete old growth forest before people started settling, and they don't replace the trees. How can you replace 100 or 2 or 3 or 400-year-old tree and you put a building on it, and then, oh my gosh, all this bulldozed earth washes away in a flash flood, and then people are like, oh, how did that happen? Well, you built on a fault line or a floodplain or below the level of the ocean. Like, yeah, we're not so smart individually and collectively, eh? Yeah.
Thank you, Miss Chris. That was beautiful. I had tears coming down my face.
Oh,
Thank you for grounding me for the afternoon.
oh, I hope you didn't feel
for
grounded.
loving trees, and
Hope you didn't
the
feel grounded,
poetry-
Joe.
the poetry is nutsy. Anyways, it just goes back to, I think that I shall never see a poem lovely as a tree.
Yeah.
Like, my dad was a forester. I was taught as little kids how to name the trees by their shape. So the elm, the Dutch elm, that we're all dying when we're doing I Spy with my little eye from the back of our convertible station wagon. Oh, there's an elm tree. It's an umbrella tree. It's the shape of an umbrella. So anyways, and I have a magic tree on my beach. It should never have lived. It's surrounded by beach. It is a maple tree, and I call it a magic tree. And I every year it should have been cut off by the ice, and it's still there. Anyways, trees are awesome, and I love your relationship with trees, Chris. It's amazing.
Thank you. We stood down on your beach at McLaren's Landing with that tree, Joe. It's just a beautiful tree. I have a photograph of it. I'll get that photograph and maybe paint it. It's just a gorgeous, gorgeous tree. Like you say, in the middle of the beach.
It's a survivor tree. It
Yeah,
shouldn't
it
have made
is.
it.
It totally is. It totally
It's
is.
growing in
It's
a
so
desert.
beautiful. It's
It's
so
been-
beautiful. It's so, it just embodies, and we use the word resilience, but I think resilience is like stainless steel. She ain't stainless steel. She is just rooted and where she shouldn't be, but she's loving the water there, that gorgeous tree. And yeah.
Yeah. And we gotta plant another one because she's not gonna be here forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah.
lots of maple keys coming out trying to plant themselves in the beach, and then you get a flood.
Yeah, yeah. Location, eh? To get those
Yeah.
maple keys up on your property. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, we
Anyways,
are
thank you. It was lovely.
Oh, you're so welcome. We're so blessed. We're so blessed in Ontario. We're so blessed in Canada to have so many trees, but we should never take them for granted. Not a single one. Not a single one. Sorry,
Yep.
Pat, you've had your hand up.
No, I just enjoy listening to everyone as well as, but I just wanted to share two experiences of trees that I've had. First of all, when I moved to Almonte, I live in a small subdivision at the other end, and moved in, and there are no trees. I left London, Ontario, which is known as the Forest City.
Oh,
And I too wept when I got here. I had a little spindly tree that I didn't like at all. Anyway, one of the experiences I had with trees was since I moved here, I was on a retreat down Port Credit, and we had a Indigenous spiritual leader as well as the leader of the retreat. And she taught us, the first thing we had to do, besides the Christian morning prayer, was we had to find a tree to introduce ourselves to be our friend and to spend the week with us. And what an interesting experience, because everything we learned with a Christian leader, she interpreted through the Indigenous experience. And then she always mentioned trees. And then we were to go, we had some Christian meditation, but we also had time with our tree. And you had to talk to your tree. You could bring your tree a gift. You could cry with your tree. It was just, and so the first thing I did when I got back to Almonte, my little spindly tree, I went and asked the tree to forgive me for not liking it. And so now we only have one tree on our lot. I mean, I think we had 40 on the other, but anyway, we lived on the river. But my other experience with trees was when I did live in London. I had this wonderful, wonderful chap who I wished I had known more about this. He would have loved today. I'm going to send him your links. But he knew every tree, every book, every seed about a tree. And the University of Guelph, we saw something about they were going to count the trees in Ontario one time. This would be 20 years ago. And so he wrote and said he would do the tree counting. And his area was London, where we were all around our area, which is on, and then his cottage, which is on Lake Huron. And he said he'd count the trees there. So I went out with him many times to count trees. And it's amazing. He knew, and he had his book, and he learned about every tree and everything about all the trees. And he also predicted some of the things that the other women were talking about today, that we weren't caring for them the right way. And then 10 years, 20 years, soil erosion and climate change, all this would ruin the tree. The other thing that he did was he collected a little piece of wood from every tree. And he made these, I don't have mine with me. He made these things he called fobs, little finger fobs. He made one from a mulberry tree at the cottage where we went every summer for me. And I still have it. And you could just keep it in your hand. Every meeting I went to, I brought it with me. But we traveled with him in Australia, fondlefob, he called it.
No.
We would, no matter where we went, we saw trees, and he couldn't help himself but count them, but he didn't need to. But he would meet somebody, talk to everybody, meet somebody, and get a piece of the wood from that tree. So he has them from Australia, from Italy, from all the different places that we were. And it's such a great memory of the ones all around where he lived, both London and where the cottage in Kincardine, because some of those trees aren't there. But it was just my two experience with trees. Just when I was looking at your paintings, I too was in tears. You miss all this. It was just, but I'm so thankful for the experience of both learning to like my tree, or to love my tree, and to learn to talk to the trees, and also to be with Sam when he counted trees. I'm going to tell him about today. I'm going to send him your thing. He would just love it, and he probably could name them all. That's what blew me away. He could remember the names of all these trees, and the hundreds of kinds of. There's no such thing as a maple tree. The maple tree had the right name when you went with Sam. So this was a wonderful experience this afternoon. And Kathy, my Aunt Mary, John has an aunt that's, we still have an aunt that is older than John, and she lives, maybe 2 blocks across Carling from where this hospital is going to go. And she has been out every day with her cronies, all of them, writing letters and protesting. But when I was there a few weeks ago, I asked her, and she said she thinks it's a done deal.
I'm afraid it is.
That's what she said. She thinks it's a done deal. And one day when John and I were just walking in there, because many years ago when I lived in Ottawa, we used to walk in the Arboretum. I met a woman walking a dog, and we just said hello to her, and she couldn't help herself. She just unloaded this whole thing about these trees are going to cut down 500 trees. She was beside herself. That was probably 2 years ago. So the people have been out looking at the trees, walking the trees, naming the trees, writing about the trees, but Aunt Mary doesn't think it's going to help.
Well, I know. The NCC, for some reason, has given into the city of Ottawa. Don't ask me why. There's obviously skullduggery or money changing hands or something.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe that'll be a blessing of the pandemic. Maybe they won't be able to start it because there is no money. But anyway, that's it. Yes, but if we can, I guess writing one more letter will help. But has despaired of.
Oh yeah, I totally get that. But I have walked that land. I have hung banners on it. I have a banner up there on the wall. Cut me not. You can see it. It's a second. It's a green thing, and we
yes,
put up
I can see
100 of these banners saying "Cut me not," and did photo essays and got the paper in and got the CBC in, and there have been people singing songs there. They've been writing petitions every Sunday afternoon for an hour. People are standing outside of I forget the name of the MPP, or is it? Or city councilor for the ward. Anyway, I'll send you this information. You'll find every Sunday afternoon, people are out there with placards. But I know, I don't think it will get saved, but I think people should be aware of what's being done.
Mm-hmm.
Just terrible.
Yeah.
500 and some, closer to 600.
Wow.
Trees, mature, beautiful
when
trees.
There's land where they don't have to cut down, even right on the experimental farm land, there's a place they could build this house without cutting down one single tree.
Oh, I can tell you why they're not doing that. Because they wanted to do that. And then the experimental farm said, no, but that land is our experimental growth area. That's what we're mandated for. Don't take it. So then they.
Wow.
And apparently the organization called the Friends of the Experimental Farm aren't allowed to speak out. There's an organization called the Friends of the Farm. And I don't know why they're not allowed to speak. There's obviously something going on that shouldn't be happening.
Mm.
It's sad.
Well, thanks for making us aware.
So besides
of that.
besides awakening all our meditation juices, we've also got all our activated.
Oh, I think those juices all come from the same pond, don't they?
Well, it's the roots of that tree. There's many roots make one tree, and So on this side, it's definitely get out and save them, and the other side is enjoy them. But you would think the lessons of BC that we've all watched, because I've been out in BC and I've seen many of those trees. But if we've just learned that if you take away the trees, the road will fall down.
Yes.
And the first thing they've done is built the road in the same place where the trees have fallen down. And so next year when there's a mudslide, they're going to be surprised that, I mean, it's just the way it is.
Hate to interrupt, but I have to sign out. So I thank
Oh,
you
no worries.
all.
Thanks for joining us, Suzanne.
And
And
my pleasure, my
yeah.
ultimate pleasure, ladies, all
and
of you.
please,
Chris.
please give my love and best to Fran. And that
I
was
sure
so
will.
sweet of her to pass on the connection. I noticed that I'm not a Facebook person, hardly ever, but when I did post about this offering, I noticed that Fran had put a like there. So give her my best.
I will. And if there's anything else that goes on, I live in Carlton Place, so Almonte is
Great.
nice and close. And I would love to take in some art classes at some point, whenever we can all be out there and freely enjoy each other's company.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you
Well,
all.
if you get a
Thank you.
chance, Suzanne, the exhibit of
And
my paintings that I showed today is still on until the 15th of January in the
Are we
Almonte
allowed in?
Library. So
I
Yes,
didn't
you
know
can
if
go
we'd
in the,
be allowed
oh
in.
yeah, you
In the
can,
library.
yeah,
Okay.
the library's
see.
open, 50% capacity, very safe, very
Good.
safe.
Good
Yeah,
to know.
yeah,
I will
yeah.
take that in for
Yeah,
sure.
if you
I
feel
went-
like it, no pressure,
there was
of course.
nobody in the library yesterday afternoon.
I'm
I
sorry?
went, I walked in Chris's gallery in the
Well, it's not
library.
Chris's gallery, it's far from Chris's
Well,
gallery.
right now it's yours.
The corridor gallery, yeah.
Good.
And it's also open on Sunday afternoons now.
Oh, that's
That's
nice.
amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
I
you.
thought it
noticed that
was,
too.
oh, that's great because it wasn't open on weekends. I
No,
thought it
this
was
is-
very
This is something
fitting.
new and to be allowed to be open. That was another letter writing campaign, right to the Ministry of Culture, or whatever his name is, and tell them that libraries are an essential service. Those librarians save the soul of many people. And being able to go and walk in art galleries in the library when we couldn't do one single thing was a blessing.
Yeah.
Well, I thought it was kind of fitting. And again, Carol Farmer, that was part of our gathering here, was the curator of that gallery. Kathy Blake has been curator of another gallery at Fairview Manor. I mean, people in this town, in all the places where we live, like volunteers, just do such incredible things.
But we can't go
But,
to Manor right now, but you can go to the library.
right,
Yeah,
right,
good to
because
know.
that's a long.
Well, the Manor Gallery has been, we haven't been running that now for,
No, well, because
year or
it's in a
two.
long-term care facility for seniors, it's just, you don't want the public going in and out there. But I thought it was kind of fitting at the corridor gallery that I was, as my husband and I and the curator, Ingrid Kadoki, the three of us were putting up the paintings, and I was thinking, this just really feels right, that here are all the trees from which all these books have come in the library.
Thank you all. Take care. All the best for the new year.
I just want to be sensitive to people's time. I know that some of you, like when I posted this, I had said that it would end at 3 with an option till 3:30. I've got the Zoom till 4. I'm more than happy to stay and chat with any of you who want to stay. Any of you who want to go, like, just don't feel captive. And I just thank you to each of you who has taken of your afternoon to come. And because I had made the binder for the gallery show, it was all there, so I just kind of retooled it for this. And I can't say enough for the 7 days of rest and sacred renewal in our history, in this phase of our history. Has there ever been a time that we've needed more rest and sacred renewal? So that site is just like this recording, which I haven't even stopped yet. And I can probably edit it down, if they feel, but I mean, there are 2-hour sessions that are offered. And then they're there on the website for global dipping in. That's one thing. And again, we're so privileged to be able to have these wonderful computers and all these capabilities that sub-Saharan Africa, you know, where there's no water and people spend all day getting water or food, and you know, people dying in refugee camps with COVID raging through. It's just, you know, again, that was all to be left at the door. I'm sorry I allowed some of it back in again, but
Chris, where's the
much
tree?
to be
Where's the tree that I think it was the tree that introduced all the other trees? Where's that one? You said near the town hall?
Oh, I think it's on the churchyard, isn't it, Chris? The one that had the ear.
Oh, the one that has the ear.
the listening tree.
Oh, she's yeah, the grandmother listening tree. So St. Paul's property that's on the Queen Street side of the church, like going down to the river,
Near where Kathy used to live,
slightly to the right towards the Riverside Inn. Like there are several big maple trees there.
Yes.
There are black walnuts, and I believe she's a maple. She may be an oak. Anyway, you really see her ear, and she's dying. She's got big clefts in her, but right down by, you know, quite close to the water, more to the right of the property,
So
away from where
would I walk down past St. Paul, you know, the churchyard?
I'll walk with you. I'll take you down. Listen to
Better
us. We'll
still.
tell her a
Don't go when it's
story.
icy. That hill is treacherous.
Well, when we've got our grimpers on, or when we get a whole bunch of snow and it's soft and we can tread down, Pat's just had back surgery, so we're not going to take her down a slippery hill.
And Pat, I lived there, and I lived there for 40 years, just backing onto that churchyard.
So
and you know, I can tell you various stories of accidents and things that happened on that hill, including my own concussion. And you know, just be careful.
I'll wait till springtime when we can walk in the mud down.
Yeah.
Chris, maybe you can arrange for all of us to get together. What an interesting group of women. We're just getting started, I feel. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for organizing this for us. Lovely meeting the rest of you. The twins are over now, so I'm going to talk to them.
That's great. Well,
we'll
thank
look
you
forward. I'll
for
be going back into your binder. You've been more than generous in sharing. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Blessings on all of you.
Absolute pleasure. And the friendship that I have with each of you is something I treasure. So thank you for all you are and all you do. And it's just been such an honor to be together. And if any of you who don't live in Almonte are coming this way, give me a call and we'll get together. I'll take you down to the mother tree with the big ear. She's all ears. She'll listen to us, and bless you all. And let's just hope, you know, wishes for a better year. And the theme of this 7 days, today is the celebration day, the last of the 7 days. So I feel like we've been able to create a little space here for celebration. And some of you, like just sending you off the email was because you and Eileen were in my mind, Elaine, and Julie Yeaman, you know, just running into Julie on the street. I walked down going towards Pat's place down by the river where they've cut down trees to put big housing developments in, like so many homes are down there. But I bumped into Julie watching her dog and said, "Oh yeah, Julie, you might, you know, we do sacred journeying together." I'm going to send the email to invite people today to come to, you know, listen to the trees. So anyway, thanks for coming.
Thanks for reaching out.
Okay. Bye, Susan. Bye, Susie.
I'm out
Thanks
here.
to each of you. Take good care.
Bye.
Bye.
Chris, I wanted to say something. I was in the library looking at your show day before yesterday.
Yes.
And it was with a real sense of joy. I saw your large collage, you know, the one with the roots. And I remember when you started with the upper tree, right?
Yes.
Then you said, no, I got to put the roots on. So another whole piece of the picture went on. And I've had that happen with work that I do sometimes. It's not big enough. I got to add something. But I remember the joy in watching that piece come through, and then the other collage one, and they're really fun. Like the other watercolors are great, but the collages are fun.
But that's through the camaraderie of friendship, Kathy. Like taking those classes. Joe and I were in your home taking a wonderful classes with you,
Well,
and that encouragement, because I just had that foam board. And then I added to it, and then it's your piece of masonite that's the backboard for that, and
That's
painted
That's
it
what I
with
add
your
on.
encouragement, and then scratched around and made the the sort of rusty color paint on the back. So I think what we do, it's like when you're a teacher, and having taught for 30 years myself, and you too, Kathy, and any of the work that we've done in community, you never know, you drop a little pebble, you never know where those ripples are going to take people, right? So
I just wish we could all get back together. I really and truly miss it. And I did try a Zoom grouping last spring during COVID. It was okay, but it's not the same. It's not the same as when we're together.
Well, it's like this. Like, what did I have to do? I got the reclining goddess in a forest. Is it like being with the stone reclining goddess in a forest wherever she lives? Not at all. Is doing a presentation.
Where is she from?
Art. You know what? I don't know that. I have to go back to source. It's terrible with the internet when you've got all this stuff that's shared. It's in a group of pictures, and I took, probably 100 photos in forests where my friend and I walked down in the Kingston area along the trails down Cataraqui, like around there. And it's in that group of photos. And I know darn well that she is not down in the Kingston area. But I think probably, Val was probably putzing away doing something, and I grabbed that off the internet, because whatever the timestamp is, it slotted it among the real photos that I took when I was in the Kingston area. So I don't know where she's from, but I love her, and that we all spent time with her wherever she is, in Thailand, or although it does look like an Ontario forest, doesn't it?
Well, it could well be. Certainly Eastern North America, but it's fun because I was drawing her, only you kept blocking her, so I couldn't draw her anymore.
I will send you the picture, because it's freeware, shareware. I've got it, so I'll flip it to you, Kathy. Then you can get all her little nuances, because she's old. She's old, almost as old as we are, maybe.
So Kathy and Chris, can you hear me? It's Julie.
Yes. Can.
Oh, well, that's crazy, because I lost the picture about 20 minutes ago, and I didn't know whether to open my mouth or not when everybody was there.
Well, have you got your video stopped, Julie? Can you see on your screen?
What I must have tapped on something, and the thing is, it says I can do allow, but I didn't want to interrupt the meeting.
Oh, no.
Anyway. Anyhow, what I have now is text. I don't know what I did. I must have turned around. But anyway, that was absolutely, the paintings are so beautiful. Thank you so much I'm glad we met on the street the other day, so that I got a chance to take part in this. Are you there?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, good.
I can see you, Julie.
No, you can see me, but for some reason, I don't know why. I have, what I have in front of me is launch the meeting, and I don't know. And then when I hit allow, which is what I figured it would come on to you, nothing is happening. So that's all right. I mean, I saw it up until 20 minutes ago. I mean, you had finished the presentation before that happened. So.
Yeah. Oh, well, it's all good. It's all good. But the technology can be so irritating. And I just said, okay, I'm going to troubleshoot this as much as I can, but I'm only troubleshooting on my Mac with the way my version of Zoom appears to me. And so somebody says, oh, well, I don't know where this is. Well, is it right, left, top, bottom, middle? What's the icon? And that's what they keep doing to us. They keep changing the versions of all these things. So we're
well, I don't know what happened, because this is the first time this has ever happened. So what I have, it's just text I have in front. So anyway, but I can hear you now. Good. And I saw all the visuals. That was just the discussion. was pretty much around the discussion about the trees in the park, which, I
Right.
mean, where the hospital's going, which is very disturbing, but.
And I think it's really, really interesting that, we create this gathering, this kind of sacred moment with elders. I mean, I think we have to embrace the fact that we are elders for our communities as women who are in our last trimester. And what do? We get together and we share. We've got, some meditation, some prayer, call it what you will, centering on art. And what comes out of our hearts from that, but activism. Right? Like, it's just interesting that what the things that are, no, Joe says no. But I mean,
I think we should do some more art. And
I agree.
We should say
I
thank
know what
you
you
to
mean
every
about
tree we walk by, but I don't want to start fighting with the government. Forget it. Because it ain't worth it. You know what? It's been going on for years. And tornadoes are going to come and take trees. Developers are going to come and take trees. But let's just enjoy the trees that we have. That's all. And now my son-in-law is a tree cutter, and he had to cut down all the trees that were planted in the 50s because nothing would make them sick, right? So in Elmvale Acres in Ottawa, all the trees that were planted were the ones that got that disease.
Dutch elm. Yeah.
No.
Ash trees?
Yep.
Could be the
ash.
Emerald ash.
Emerald
Okay,
ash.
emerald
borer.
ash.
Yeah, emerald ash borer. Yeah.
All those trees were planted by the city on all the streets, in all the subdivisions in Elmvale Acres in the 50s and they planted one kind of tree because they never got sick. They would not have any disease, and that was the plan. Now they've had to take them all down, and they're replacing with 3 different kinds of trees that they think won't get sick. So it's ongoing, and then you've got to be an arborist, and I hope we're on the side of planting trees, not having to take them down, but they do get sick, and they do have to be taken away, and they do die, but let's enjoy them while they're here.
Yeah. And it's ironic, Joe, that you're talking about Elmvale Acres and were they all ash trees? Should it not have been Ashvale Acres? But the monoplanting, that just gets us into trouble all the time.
That's too funny. That's too funny.
Yeah, for sure. I think maybe Susan was going like this. I was just going to say, Susan, do you have something to say? But she probably had to go. Anyway, lovies, we can stay here and talk longer. I'm more than happy to do that. But I thank you so much for your time. This was just really
Thank you.
nice in the absence of being able to get together and journey. It was kind of a journey, right, Julie? We kind of
Oh yeah, for sure. I was very relaxed.
You looked half asleep.
No, I was as you said, we should get into a relaxed position, and that's exactly what I did. It was wonderful.
Yeah, well, that's the sacred space that it's all about, right? Maybe just while you're saying goodbye, I'll just finish with a couple. I just love quotes, if you can tell from that document that I created. So I'll just finish off with a couple of quotes.
Okay,
thanks.
I had felt that all great trees, what's left of them, do indeed link heaven and earth in a single forest of life.
Right on.
And then Khalil Gibran, have a moment for Khalil. Trees are poems that the earth writes upon the sky. Rooted to the sky.
That's the best.
Anyway, thanks so much.
Thank you.
I look forward to being in a room, sharing food and a glass of wine.
And art.
Or not a wine, a tea, doing art, whatever, doing art, creating art, just being together. So bless each of you. And going forward, let's just hope that this is the fourth and final wave of COVID and we can put it behind us and get on with life.
I think we all have to get sick with it and then it will be behind us. I think everybody's
Maybe,
going to get it.
Kathy, maybe that's what it's coming to, eh? Maybe.
Yep.
Maybe. Anyway,
And
bless
then,
you.
then when everybody's had it, there'll be an immunity at a level that we can't achieve any other way because of the anti-vaxxers.
Well, aren't we beyond herd immunity? Do we all have to start mooing like cows to say, yes, we've got herd immunity now?
We're getting it now.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway,
Anyway,
good
oh,
care.
thank you very much.
Yeah.
Oh,
Lovely,
you're
lovely
so
afternoon,
welcome.
Chris.
Love you
Bye-bye.
bunches. Bye,
See
bye,
ya.
bye.
Love